when your armor becomes your cage, and why softness might be the bravest thing you'll ever do. I want to talk to you today about something that doesn't often make it onto stages like this, something we don't put on our resumes or brag about at dinner parties. I want to talk about the moment when survival stops being your superpower and starts becoming your prison. Recently, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Keisha Hunter, a force of nature who's been building empires for 24 years straight. And when I say building, I mean she took the narrative society handed her at 15 years old, pregnant, forced to leave school with every statistic screaming she'd never amount to anything. And she set that narrative on fire. Today, she's not just surviving, she's thriving. She's authored her first book. She's raised a 32-year-old daughter who's flourishing. She's built a legacy that proves Black women don't just overcome impossible odds, we alchemize them into fuel. Keisha Hunter's making the world better by showing us that our beginnings don't dictate our endings, that teen motherhood, a dropout label, and every closed door you've ever faced can become the foundation of something that outlasts you. That's what we're unpacking today on Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom we deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French, and today we're diving into resilience, determination, and the audacity to build a life that defies every limitation placed on you. Let's be honest about resilience for a moment. We toss that word around like it's something to aspire to, like it's a badge of honor we should all be fighting to earn. But here's the uncomfortable truth: resilience is born in trauma. It's forged in the fire of moments you never asked for. It's built when you're 15 years old, staring at a pregnancy test, watching your entire future collapse and reconfigure in real time. It's constructed when you're walking out of a school building for the last time because society has decided you can't be both a mother and a student. Resilience isn't a motivational poster, it's not a hashtag, it's survival mode on steroids. And for too many Black women, it becomes the only mode we know. But Keisha Hunter taught me something during our conversation that shifted my entire perspective. Resilience isn't just about surviving the fire, it's about what you choose to do with the ashes. It's about taking that early adversity and transforming it into unbreakable strength, not the kind of strength that keeps you grinding until you collapse from exhaustion, the kind that says, I've walked through hell and I'm going to build heaven on earth anyway. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah Breedlove. You probably know her as Madam C.J. Walker. She was born in 1867 to parents who had been enslaved. Think about that for a second. Her parents knew what it meant to be considered property. Sarah was orphaned young, widowed at 20 with a baby girl to raise alone. She developed a scalp condition that caused her hair to fall out in chunks. And this was happening in an era when Black women had exactly zero access to hair care products designed for their needs. No formal education, no safety net, no backup plan, just poverty, systemic racism, and a world that told her daily that she didn't matter. So, what did Sarah do? She developed her own hair care line. She didn't just create products, she created an economic revolution. She trained thousands of Black women through something called the Walker system, opening beauty parlors and founding Lelia College. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for the world to validate her worth. She moved. And in moving, she became America's first self made female millionaire. She transformed washing laundry for pennies into a manufacturing empire, with Villa Lawaro serving as a community hub for Black excellence. She didn't just survive her circumstances, she obliterated them and created a legacy that still echoes more than a century later. That's the kind of resilience Keisha Hunter embodies. 24 years of entrepreneurship built on the foundation of teenage pregnancy, and a dropout status. That's not luck, that's not circumstance. That's waking up every single day and choosing to rewrite the narrative, even when the world keeps handing you the same exhausted script. Now, let's talk about determination, because resilience might get you through the fire, but determination is what keeps you building when the smoke finally clears. Determination is the voice inside that says, "This setback, it's not my ending, I am." In 1978, a woman named Janice Bryant Howroyd walked into a tiny office in Los Angeles with a $1,500 loan and a vision that nobody else could see. Janice had grown up in segregated North Carolina. She'd moved west with minimal resources, no corporate connections, and a dream that probably seemed absurd to everyone around her. She was going to build a staffing agency, and not just any staffing agency. She was going to build one that focused on employment solutions for underserved communities, for people who looked like her, for people the corporate world had written off. Do you know what happened? She built Acton Group into a $1 billion company. She became the first Black woman to build and own a $1 billion enterprise, not because the path was easy, not because doors magically opened, but because she leveraged community networks when the corporate world wanted nothing to do with her. She scaled through authentic relationships when traditional funding sources said no. She refused to let racism, sexism, and economic barriers define her ceiling. That's determination. That's looking at $1,500 and seeing a $1 billion future. That's refusing to accept the limitations other people try to place on your life. And that's exactly what Keisha Hunter has been doing for 24 years: moving, building, creating, refusing to let teen motherhood or business battles or any other obstacle dictate her end game. Let me tell you about one more woman. Her name is Jo Fairley, and she left school at 16 with minimal qualifications and no clear path forward. No advanced degrees, no family wealth, no corporate sponsors, just grit and a vision she couldn't shake. She co founded Green and Black's organic chocolate brand in the UK, building it from scratch with purpose driven marketing and community sales. She sold that company to Cadbury for millions in 2005 and created a brand legacy that still inspires entrepreneurs today. Joe's story captures that same fire Keisha carries, that no credentials to empire energy, that raw determination that says, "I don't need permission, I need courage." And for Black women especially, that determination isn't just about business success, it's about survival. It's about proving to a world that constantly underestimates us that we are forces of nature who cannot be contained. But here's where we need to pause. Here's where the conversation gets uncomfortable, because resilience and determination are beautiful, powerful, necessary, but they can also become our prison if we're not careful. This is what Soft Girl Era is really about. It's about recognizing that the same survival mode that got us here can also trap us in a cycle of constant grinding, constant proving, constant doing. It's about understanding that we've been so busy being strong that we've forgotten how to be soft, so busy surviving that we've forgotten how to live. Keisha Hunter didn't just build a 24-year empire. She's now writing her first book. She's sharing her story. She's stepping into a new chapter that says, "I've survived, I've built. Now I'm going to rest, reflect, and pour into others from a place of overflow, not depletion." That's the shift. That's the sacred pause. That's learning to be soft in a world that taught you only survival matters. Because here's what nobody tells you: your story fuels legacy building. 24 years of grit, a thriving daughter, a first book that will inspire countless women who see themselves in your journey. That's not just success, that's generational impact. That's Black women rewriting rules with fire and focus and the audacity to rest. So here are three things I want you to remember. Write them down, carry them with you, share them with the woman in your life who needs to hear this today. First, resilience turns early adversity into unbreakable strength. Your setbacks are not your identity, they're your training ground. Every obstacle you've faced has been preparing you for the empire you're about to build. Second, unstoppable determination crushes every obstacle. No setback, not teen motherhood, not business battles, not financial struggles, not systemic racism defines your end game. You dictate it. You write the final chapter. You decide what legacy you leave behind. Third, your story fuels legacy building. 24 years of grit, a thriving daughter, a first book. These aren't just accomplishments, they're proof that Black women rewrite rules with fire and focus. They're evidence that our beginnings don't determine our endings. They're a roadmap for every woman coming behind us who needs to know it's possible. But here's what I really need you to hear today. Here's the part that matters most. Your resilience is beautiful. Your determination is powerful, but neither of those things should cost you your peace. Neither should cost you your joy. Neither should cost you the ability to exhale without guilt. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, launch that business you've been dreaming about. Write the first page of that book. Make the phone call you've been avoiding. Set the boundary you've been too afraid to enforce. Say no without offering 17 explanations. Rest without apologizing for it. Your adversity, it's rocket fuel. But so is your softness. So is your rest. So is your refusal to keep carrying weight that was never yours to begin with. Keisha Hunter's story isn't just hers, it's Sarah Breedlove's, it's Janice Bryant Howroyd's, it's Joe Fairley's, it's every Black woman who's ever been told she couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't, and did it anyway with style and grace and an unshakable belief in her own worth. This is your invitation not to hustle harder, not to prove yourself more, but to finally give yourself permission to be soft, to build your empire and rest in it, to create your legacy and enjoy it while you're still here to see it. Because when you learn to be soft in a world that taught you only survival, that's when you become truly unstoppable. Now go build something beautiful. And when you do, remember to breathe. Remember that your story matters. Remember that you don't have to choose between being strong and being soft. You can be both. And that combination is your greatest power. The world is waiting for what only you can build. So build it, rest in it, and never apologize for taking up space while doing both.